Hi, I'm Dr. Finney. I have completed my MBBS, I have completed my DNB General Medicine, and currently I'm final year postgraduate resident in cardiology. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to discuss about the future of MBBS in India. And many students, they are giving this NEET entrance exam, to become a doctor, right? And mark my words, there will be few discouraging words in this video. So if you are not ready to face such discouragement, please skip this video. Okay, so first and foremost is the competition. Around 23 lakh students are giving a NEET exam every year to compete for around 63,000 government MBBS seats. I'm focusing on the government MBBS seats because most of the students, they can't spend 2 crore 3 crore to complete their MBBS. Okay, so they are maybe the middle class and lower middle class people who want to bring a change in their family first. So forget about the society, because thinking that MBBS or becoming a doctor itself is a great achievement where I can change the lives of all my family members. So people used to think that way, and even I thought the same. Okay, so let's discuss about that further in this video. And this competition, out of 100 students who are competing for this NEET exam, only 2 or 3 people are able to secure this government MBBS seat. So fair enough, let's consider you have secured your MBBS seat. Are you ready to spend time, or are you ready to sacrifice your time or sacrifice a decade or 2 decades of your life to begin to earn money? This question I'm asking you straight, because any MBBS student, if you ask when they join MBBS, they always want to become a specialist doctor. Like, see, when they asked me, I said I want to become an orthopedician. So when I was in MBBS, okay, so everybody wants to become an orthopedician, or cardiologist, neurologist, neurosurgeon, okay, pediatrician, gynecologist. See, everybody wants to become a clinical doctor. Okay, so after MBBS, people will know, like, there are clinical branches and non-clinical branches. So non-clinical branches are teaching branches. Okay, I don't consider them inferior, please don't get me wrong, but 90% of the students, when they join MBBS, they want to become a clinical specialist. Okay, because that's how you can interact with the patients, because non-clinical doctors, most of the times they will be interacting with the students, or they will be more focused on the academics. Okay, but if you want to see the patients, if you want to sit in OPD, usually you should do a clinical specialization. Please, I don't want to offend any non-clinical specialists, but this is the hard truth. So after MBBS, you need to write this exam called NEET PG. That will decide whether you will become a clinical specialist or a non-clinical specialist. Okay, so to get or to become a clinical specialist, it is very hard. Yeah, see, very, very hard. So there are many students, I know few of my friends, after completing MBBS, still they are not able to crack this NEET exam. They are studying for 5-6 years. Some of my seniors, I know, because see, and the problem is, if you are not able to crack this exam, the society, which initially gave respect that you are a big MBBS doctor, or you secured rank in NEET exam and you've gotten into medical college, the same society will treat you like a failure. यार ये बंदा तो NEET PG भी crack नहीं किया, he's worthless, he's just doing as a working in a PHC, or he's working as a duty doctor. Society will begin to judge you, society will begin to treat you like a failure if you're not able to crack this NEET PG entrance. Yes, it's very difficult to crack this NEET PG entrance. And the third thing, the reality of doctors these days. Yeah, you see that cardiologist to BMW mein jata hai. I see one doctor who has a private jet, or whose hospital is listed in National Stock Exchange. So see, people always see the top outliers. Okay, so the people who are earning 30 lakhs, 1 crore, 10 crore per month. Yeah, there are many doctors, but the majority of the people, you can say 80 to 90% of the doctors, they are just employees. And even out of them, almost 70% of the doctors, or even post MBBS, they are working with a very, very low salary. I've recently seen advertisement where a CTVS surgeon, so CTVS surgeon, who is a surgeon who does bypass surgeries, who does heart transplant surgeries, a CTVS surgeon was offered a job for 37 or 40,000 rupees per month salary. Can you imagine? I know a Pani Puri guy who sells Pani Puri. He is earning 1 lakh per month. And a CTVS surgeon who is saving lives by doing bypass surgeries. This hospital, or even the government hospital, sometimes, see, that advertisement is given by a government institution. That's how the saturation right now in the society is. I don't say it's everywhere, but slowly, when you become a specialist, maybe after 10-15 years, the competition is gonna be very, very high. Okay, let's consider you have become a specialist doctor. So what will be the workload? See, suppose if you become a teacher or engineer, yeah, definitely the workload or the work stress is there in every profession, I agree. But for a doctor, it is something beyond, because doctors deal with lives of the patients. Suppose if I'm a software engineer, if I make a mistake while coding the software, yeah, there will be repercussions in the software, but that doesn't kill a person straight away, or it doesn't kill a person within one day. But as a doctor, suppose I'm a cardiologist, and if while doing an angioplasty, or suppose if orthopedician, if while doing a surgery, if we can't get optimal results, sometimes patients may die. So we are dealing with lives of the patients. We can't afford to make a mistake. What I mean to say is, the level of stress, the level of mental burden that doctors face, or see, there are surgeries where doctors had to stand and work with the patient for 12 hours, 14 hours, even 24 hours. And imagine the kind of stress. Suppose if something happens to the patients these days, the people always want 100% results from the doctors. Doctors are not gods. Even if our surgery, or if the surgery is 100% success, sometimes the body of the patient may not react properly, sometimes the patients may die, unfortunately. That adds a lot of physical, mental stress to the doctors. And whether you know or don't know, I don't know, but in India, doctors die 10 years early. So the normal life expectancy is around 70 years, and the doctor's life expectancy is around 60 years in India. So doctors, because of this, all the physical, mental stress, they are dying early. And another thing, after you become a doctor, is suppose if you are working in a private hospital, there are targets in private hospitals. Like, once I was talking to a friend, and he was bluntly told by the hospital management, if he generates 10 lakh rupees per month, the hospital will pay him 2 lakhs. So you generate 20 lakhs, we'll pay you 4 lakhs. You generate 5 lakhs, I'll give you 1 lakh. The 20% of whatever the amount you generate per month, that will be your salary. So these kind of targets sometimes will even break the doctors. And another thing is, in India, the MBBS seats are increasing like anything. The government is increasing the medical colleges. Maybe government has its own reasons. See, just like engineering, because previously when they used to say, my son is an engineer, or I am an engineer, yeah, there used to be some respect. But these days, like, everybody is doing engineering. Even if you get zero in the competitive exam, even if you are not qualified, you can get a engineering seat. That's how the MBBS may become. Because if you go on increasing the MBBS seats, the competition will be diluted, and it will lead to the saturation, and obviously the jobs will reduce. That's going to be a vicious cycle where the identity of a doctor loses its value. So these are few of the reasons I can say that MBBS is or may not be worth it. But here are the pros of MBBS, which I consider more important than the cons, which I discussed previously, because very few professions have the capability of saving lives. Patient comes with a heart attack, only a cardiologist or a specialist doctor can save a life. Only a doctor can save a child who is on a deathbed. Only a doctor can bring about weeping families, or who are at the brink of breaking down. Only a doctor, with his knowledge or with his skill, whatever, can bring about change in lives. That is something which many professions don't have, and that feeling is difficult to replace with money. And another thing is, doctors can work for decades. So usually for any other job, when you have energy, or when you have strength, maybe you can be more productive. But for doctors, it's like the more you grow and mature, or the more experience you gain, even if you are 70 or 80 years old, you can still earn money. The only thing is, you need to procure the wisdom, knowledge, skill, and you need to help the people around you, or you need to earn a reputation. Obviously the money and everything will come behind you, but mind my words, not all doctors can reach that phase. All humans are not same. Okay, suppose if there are 100 MBBS students, hardly 30 to 50 can crack the clinical post graduation seats. So let's consider 50 people crack the clinical seats. Out of those 50 people, almost 30-40 people will be working in some private corporate hospital as a daily wage worker, or monthly wage worker. Only top 5% or 10% people, or the doctors, they try to venture into this own private setup. And it's not easier. I've seen many doctors who failed at a private practice. Many doctors, like, the failure rate is also very high, maybe 70 to 80%. Even after studying decades and decades, doctors fail in private practice, not because they don't have skill, not because they don't have knowledge, but because the society is that way. Because few things I cannot share here, but it's not easy to monetize your knowledge as a doctor. Not always it's not easy. And those few 1 or 2% of the people who are at the top tier, who are outliers, they may earn 30 lakhs, 1 crore per month. It's possible. There are few doctors, but to reach that stage, you should face an unimaginable amount of stress. If you invest that amount of stress or hard work in some other thing, suppose even if you crack an IIT, yeah, you can become you can secure a job in Google, Microsoft, or we hear the news like he got a $1 million package, or I mean $100,000 package, like that, for some students after completing their graduation. And they are outliers, right? So in such way, yeah, definitely there are few doctors, but that's not possible for everyone. And the problem with the society is they judge doctors very easily. Suppose if unfortunately a patient dies in a hospital, whether it's a mistake from the hospital or whether it's a mistake of the doctor, yeah, definitely the medical negligence is a seriously punishable crime. But sometimes, out of chance, or out of the severity of the disease, or out of worsening the health of the health condition of a patient, if unfortunately the patient dies, the society are not in a position to accept it. Like, they want 100% success from the doctors. That is very painful these days. See, this video is not going to end this way. So to all the students who are preparing for this NEET entrance, my simple message is, it is worth it to become a doctor. But before becoming a doctor, you need to know the weight of this apron. Before chasing this white coat, please understand the weight of it. I repeat it again. Before chasing the white coat, understand the weight of it. That's it. All the best.